Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and salam UiTM di hatiku. My name is Nurul Amira Anissa binti Mokapi and my matric number is 2021-687-444. We are from Group 3. We'll present about roles of employees in an organization, case study of Ministry of Tourism. First of all, I will introduce about the Ministry of Tourism. The Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture, abbreviate MOTAC, is an ministry of the government of Malaysia that is responsible for tourism, culture, archive, library, museum, heritage, arts, theatre, handicraft, visual arts, convention, exhibition, Islamic tourism and craft. The Ministry of Tourism plays important roles in establishing Malaysia as a world-class tourism destination. The MOTAC works with all industry stakeholders. As soon as Visit Malaysia 2020 started, we faced a problem which is the welcome of pandemic COVID-19. Coronavirus disease, COVID-19, is an infectious disease caused by the SARS-CoV-2 virus. Most people infected with the virus will experience mild to moderate respiratory illness and recover without requiring a special treatment. As we all know, COVID-19, one of history that we never happened or faced in Malaysia and our world itself. So as soon as the COVID-19 come, it makes our economy increases. In order to prevent this situation, the Ministry of Tourism have built some standard of operation, which is SOPs, that must be followed by the citizen in order to prevent the infections of COVID-19 in Malaysia. Next, I will present about background Ministry of Tourism. Department of Tourism was first set up under the Ministry of Trade of Malaysia in 1959. In the 1980s, government support for tourism continued with the establishment of Ministry of Culture, Arts and Tourism in 1987. On May 1992, the Ministry of Culture, Arts and Tourism was renamed Ministry of Culture, Arts and Tourism, or known as MOCAT. MOCAT was split to facilitate the establishment of separate ministry. For example, the Ministry of Tourism. This department reflected the government's seriousness in promoting tourism as one of the key major income for our country. Following the 13th general election on May 15, 2013, MOTUA was renamed Ministry of Tourism and Culture, which is known as MOTAC. On 2nd July 2018, Ministry was renamed as the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture Malaysia as announced by Yang Amat Berhormat Prime Minister during cabinet formation after the 14th general election. For the vision, mission and objective for the Ministry of Tourism, the Ministry of Tourism Malaysia's duties include developing national tourism policies to meet the Ministry's vision, goals and objectives. Ministry of Tourism strengthening synergy and collaboration between the tourist and culture industries in order to make Malaysia a preferred destination.
Assalamualaikum and good evening. My name is Muhammad Shazik bin Rashid, 2021-838-572. So today I would like to explain about the managing the issue. Is planning. So what exactly is planning? Everyone understands that planning is what we do before we begin something new. We can see how crucial planning is in every step of life. The reason we must plan is that we must have a goal or strategy in what we do. Begin to reach or achieve as a personal success. The concept of thinking before acting is also used to planning. We see from the other side, planning also a basic and primary function of management. From the opposite side, we can observe that planning is a fundamental and a key job of management. It is referred to be predetermined before the activities in an organization are carried out. It is preferred to be predetermined before the activities in an organization are carried out. Before starting project, you must plan how, when, what, and where will you carry out a certain task. It is a process of thinking that necessitates of extensive deliberation prior to formulation of strategies. Planning requires a goal setting and following certain procedure to attain the goal. Planning also refers to the creation of policy, the allocation of funds, the development of future programs, and others. All of these factors is the reason that the activity success in the future to reach the goals. I would say that if an organization lacks a strong planning system, the function of management is meaningless, since they have no goals to pursue and their organization is in trouble. As a result, the company must prepare documentation or blueprint that define how goals are to be accomplished. So now, I explain about how the Ministry of Tourism planning to manage the outbreak of COVID-19 in Malaysia. So with the recently announced short-term economic first was due by the government, the tourism industry is now seeing optimism 2.5 months after the movement control order began. Over the same era, the hotel industry saw business decline to nearly nil despite bearing overheads and personnel costs. Hotels were forced to make difficult decisions such as putting staff on unpaid leave, taking pay cutbacks, and even laying off employees. According to the Malaysian Association of Hotel MAH latest polls, 26% of employees were given unpaid leave, 20% were given paid cuts, and 6% were laid off. With additional hotels declaring closure, the number would have risen by now. YAB Tan Sri Dato' Haji Muhyiddin bin Haji Muhammad Yassin, the Prime Minister with the Ministry of Tourism MOTAC, devised a short-term plan to ease the load on hotels that have been losing money for a long time. Among them are business in the tourist industry, such as travel agents, hotel operators, and airlines will have their deferral period for projected tax payable for the period 1 April 2020 to 30 September 2020 extended for another 3 months from 1 October 2020 to 31 December 2020. Then from 1 July to 2020 until 30 June 2021, there will be a full tourist tax exemption as well as a service tax exception on lodging service supplied by the operator of accommodation premised from 1 September 2020 until 30 June 2021. Aside from that, the individual income tax rebate of up to RM1,000 for domestic travel cost has been extended till December 31, 2021. And then, the Ministry, Tan Sri Haji Muhyiddin bin Muhammad Yassin also do the long-term economic plan with the cooperation of Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture MOTAC, Malaysian Association of Hotel MAH, and MAHTEC has designed and put into the Tourism Recovery Plan TRP under the National Tourism focus on strategy that revitalizing domestic tourism by way of delivering more innovative and appealing journey. Application via virtual platform, promotion in the form of rebate voucher, e-voucher, and discount event as additionally selling the unequalness of rural vocational location, preferring more secure location, fewer people, and sparkling air. In addition, to retaining the rate of COVID-19 infection low via way of the means of adhering to the SOP, this plan take time for 2020 until 2030 to make sure the country plan is stabilized and be able to reduce loss due to an infection epidemic. So just wait for me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon. My name is Amas Nadirah binti Ahmad Fahmi Yahya, 2021-687828, and I will be presenting Managing the Issue Organizing for this presentation. Firstly, what is organizing? Organizing is how work is arranged and divided between members of an organization to achieve the objective or goal of that organization. Organizing is a crucial and important step for achieving the company's ambition. It is an act that helps the organization to use the available resources efficiently. Next, I will be presenting what did the Ministry of Tourism do in organizing. During the COVID-19 pandemic, the Board of Directors all gathered together and has organized and are prepared for handling the issues during the period of lockdown. This is all to prevent the disease of COVID-19 becoming more widespread in the country. The ministry had decided on few countermeasures and implemented standard of procedures, also known as SOP, upon the consecutive opening of any attractions, hotels or homestays.
Assalamualaikum, my name is Nur Farhana and my matrix number is 2021484668. I will present about decision making. Quality and timely decision making are essential for the success of any organization. The definition of decision making is a process of making choices by identifying a decision and selecting a course of action or alternative to solve a specific problem. The importance of decision making is, firstly, it is play the most important role in the planning process. The ability to make good decisions is the key to successful managerial performance. Next, the importance of decision making is it can prevent from conflicts. For example, a ministry needs to decide so that it can prevent conflict in the workplace. In that way, we can prevent employees from arguing about a project. Lastly, decision making will increase productivity. If someone can make a decision, it will slow down the work and create a mess. Decision making is a difficult task. It is indeed a very complicated process. However, the process of decision making can be simplified by establishing objective, policies, and procedures. There are many processes for decision making. Using step-by-step decision making can make you more thoughtful about decisions. Firstly, we need to identify and diagnose the problem. We must recognize the problem that exists and solve them together. The second step is making the choice or choosing the best alternative. We need to maximize the decision to get the best possible outcomes. Next, the process of decision making is implementing the decision. We cannot assume that things will go smoothly during implementation, so we need to identify the potential problems and opportunities. If the decision has not met the identified need, organizations may want to repeat certain steps of the process to come to a new decision to make change to the current decision.
Hi, we see again. So right now we talk about the managing the issues about controlling. So do you guys know the concept of controlling? Let me tell you, control is critical managerial role. It is the process of determining any deviation from standard by assessing actual performance and comparing it to standards. Control implies checking, testing, regulating, confirming, and comparing it to standard. Control implies checking, testing, regulating, confirming, or altering. The control serves as the foundation for subsequent action. It also is in the implementation of remedial action of satisfy the criteria. Controlling refers to the desire to exert control over the action of others. It detects deviation and implements remedial steps. It decreases the likelihood of mistake being repeated in the future by the implementing preventive measure. Controlling is the process of ensuring that process meet expectation. It is the process of comparing and verifying real performance with standard performance. It also examines if the activity was carried out as anticipated and take remedial measure. It is described as the key to management for the actual field implementation of the plan. It also prevents correct deviation from plans. Controlling are so important to finding solution for the problem. Below, I show the several of important of controlling. First of all, we see the meeting organizational cost controlling. Have an organization aim or objective to be made. The managing person directs subordinate activities in order to attain the goal. It ensures that people and resources are employed as efficiently as possible to meet the organization's set goals. Following that, evaluate the standard accuracy and manage a control job entails comparing actual work performance to standard. He tries to evaluate if the correctness of the standard is greater or less than that of the general standard. The organization establishes a goal for the future which is uncertain, so controlling is a method of dealing with the uncertainty and achieving goal. Regular control highlights the difference between the plan and the actual achievement, which help to keep the personnel on course. Last but not least, boost employee motivation. The process of encouraging someone to undertake something is characterized as motivation. Controlling motivate our workers to work hard, work same day, work aware that their work performance will be reviewed. If the organization progressive is good, their identification will be verified too. So just take from me, okay?
Next, I will present on how the Ministry of Tourism does tourist control to travelers in Malaysia. Firstly, the government of Malaysia has set specific requirements for all travelers, doesn't matter, citizens and or non-citizens, if they want to enter Malaysia. Travelers are subjected to quarantine orders either at prepared quarantine centers or in their own homes by the Home Surveillance Order (HSO) to stay indoors for at least 14 days.
So, and lastly, we will see at the conclusion. To conclude, the Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture (MOTEC) has already been publication of important disease epidemiological measure concerning the outbreak of COVID-19 in mainland China. They also have collaborated with various parties and create some standard operational procedure. It is SOP for netizens to follow it. Apart from that, many other Ministry of Tourism, Arts and Culture around the world has also set certain of SOP and measure to make sure they control the spread of disease and ensure tourism is still possible in the future. This is because the ministry want to develop the country economy by providing employment opportunities to the community. Moreover, they also want to attract investors to continue investing in their country. So just get from us. Thank you for letting me here.